I int Oh, it yelled at me.
Hi. Today I have Sarah. It's Magic Friday, so we're going to do a little uh, balancing ritual, and Sarah, she puts um, loving messages on Facebook every day,
Mhm.
and I love her messages. She's one of my dear friends, and so today we got inspired to have a conversation and do a little bit of magic. The so what is the intention today, Sarah?
The intention, Tammy, is, and thank you very much for that very kind introduction. That was very kind of you. I intend to balance all the elements within me to feel the magic of coherence. So
Ah,
that's our intention for today.
okay. So that's great intention, and so we'll begin with a breath. Let's do a balancing breath. So let's take three breaths in and out, and let's do four in, hold for four, and release for four. So let's breathe in and then relax. Breathe in, hold, and then relax. Breathe in, hold for four, and then relax. And then we'll sing a little. Aniki turu unpata
Ah,
kishanala inakatu nokuru
Niyaka
ushanatika.
naya siniyaka
Akikita
shiniya.
onoro oshanalai
Niya
inakitu
siniya
brutai natu
kushiniyaka
shanalai
iyaka
inashanakitu oro ena
oshaniyaka
inakitu oru
yana
ishanai
ayana
e uno oru
yai
enala ekinetu nokushanaki
asikin
wa'i
kisiya
nakai boru
yakanishiya
ishakanati
kashana
kai
yasiki yasiki ne kishi
Tikinati no oro ushanati
achuna
nakai.
asaniki shinia kashuni siyana hiyana kashe.
Okay. Okay. So when we sing, um, it brings us joy, and we had a conversation prior to this briefly, but we I wanted to talk a little bit about the elements today. So there's fire, air, earth, and water, and spirit. So, we always have access to all of the elements, but we have a primary element. In mine is fire. I'm an Aries. Um, so I'm usually, I, I transmute through fire, and I spark things in people through discussion, through my light language. But this element is, um, it's not meant to burn, but it might bring up fear in people. And, so I transform through fire is one of my elements, but I balance it by co-creating with people like Sarah, who's a water element. So, talk about, you were inspired to talk about how you flow like
Y-
water.
Yeah, so uh, something that really sparked in me when we talked before we started this is that, you know, I am a I am kind of that fluidity that helps that fire get to the right place. Because, sometimes fire just burns out of control. And when you add a little flow to the fire, it gets to where it needs to go. And that just kind of sparked off in my brain. Um, but the reason why I was inspired to talk to you is, you've been doing these amazing things on YouTube and sharing your light with others. And I'm like, how do I get into that and show others how I work with fire, like yourself, or like earth by walking around on my ground or hugging my tree, or, those basic things. And I really wanted to talk about moving my body and health, and really that's all tied together. And I didn't, it didn't slap me in the face until right before we started this conversation of how important that balancing each one of those is so important. If you just sing all day and you don't walk around, it's not going to do any good. You need to bring everything together to make things happen. And that's, it's the magic of coherence. When you get everything working together, it's like a light bulb. Literally, I feel tingles in the back of my head. I guess my spirit guides are
Literally.
like saying,
Yeah.
"Hey,
Yeah.
Sarah, you're on to something here."
Yeah. Yeah. Because, one thing that has really occurred to me this week, or in the last several months, is that I get these really massive downloads.
Mhm.
And how am I incorporating that into my body? So I lay on the earth, I tone and sing. I I like to swim. I'll go, if my passion gets too much, I'll go swim in the pool or go to the ocean. And
Absolutely.
so resting inside the body is great, but also body movement. So I use yoga flow, and that, in the element of air, the breath. So if I get a download, um, often I will just sit and breathe deep, and sit in stillness and sit in quiet. Um, but I also have to balance that because this is new energy.
Yeah.
And I'm finding like I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I can't sleep. And I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a long day because I've got things planned all day. And so how do I, how do I, how do I just live in the idea that my body only needs 5 hours of sleep? Maybe I need to just lay down and rest for a few minutes and meditate during the day. Because I can take a 15-minute meditation and feel rejuvenated. And so,
Well, in those situations, as you're speaking, I'm thinking of all those moments. Like even yesterday, I was overwhelmed, and I went and hopped on my bike and rode around town and kind of just just was. You always have those moments where you're like, there's so much energy coming in and you're not sure what to do with it and where to go. Moving your body is a very effective way to help get that out of you because really it's stuck in you and you need to get that energy moving. Another thing I was thinking about as well is, you know, I work on my squats every day because I need to work on getting into the earth and staying in connection there because with water you flow, you go, you just kind of, I'm now realizing how I am so much water. and
yeah,
that and that you need to use that as
I want to talk about fiery inspirations because often they're big and they feel scary. So, if you, as you, as you move through inspiration, um, and if you sit in stillness, you'll receive answers from spirit because everything's connected. So when you become, the more and more coherent you become, the more ideas kind of flow into you. But we naturally freeze in the body, or it's freeze, flight, or fear takes the shape of a different form in each individual.
Yep.
And so the inspiration to grow and expand is often accompanied with fear.
Yes.
So talk about what we were talking about, like sitting in it. Okay, what is this fear trying to show me? What's your process?
So I have learned a new process of that is that I've been actually looking towards the fear and trying to ask, why are you here? What are you doing? Why what is it you are trying to show me? Because I was super avoidant. I avoid fear. I used to avoid fear like the plague, but um I realize that's a pattern and that's something that I can't do anymore and that I have to look at the fear and go, why? Why are you afraid? What in this is causing you this fear? Is it because you are afraid you don't have the money to pay for this? Are you afraid that you are not good enough? Are you afraid that people are going to judge you because you sing light language? All of those things. And now I'm like, who cares? It doesn't matter. But again, you still, when you have those fearful moments, you have to ask yourself, why? Why am I afraid? Because we are loved and supported every moment of every day. Why would we be afraid? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's it, and so when I feel fear, um, I, I feel like I surrender to it. Um, I, yeah, I too, may journal about, what is this fear trying to show me? Because I will take a leap or a jump.
Mhm.
I'll do it. I'll say, okay, and push past it. But I still hesitate at times.
Mhm.
And, singing light language, that's easy for me now. But there may be I may hesitate at times to tell people about what I do, like energy work or something like that. So I feel like a little bit of that is discernment, and a little bit of that is that it reaches the right people in the right way. But I will sit with it, I'll say yes to things, and then I question them, like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I would have doubts, like
Yep.
speaking with my spirit guides, and you know, having supernatural experiences like angels showing up, or some of this galactic things that I'm opening up to, seeing more, your perception opening. But the first initial thing is, oh, this is interesting, but how do I incorporate it in my daily life, the ordinary life? I'm still, I need to ground. I need to be okay in my body. I might feel a little shaky inside when I'm moving in a new direction of something that I haven't done before. But I will, I will, gently write down things I'm inspired to do and go with the lightest one. Or sometimes I'll go with the hardest one, because if I really push past fear, I'll look back and say, well, that was just ridiculous how afraid I was of trying this new thing.
Mhm.
And, trying or, developing a new skill that I know I have that I have shared with this person. Maybe I can share it with someone else. And, just being very vulnerable and true and honest, because there's really nothing to be afraid of in the world. And you're actually creating timelines. So you're the one creating the new, so befriending the fear, not pushing it away, sitting
Mhm.
with it, breathing through it, um, and taking one step, because whatever you're passionate about is really where your growth is coming from.
Yeah, and like Tammy said, your passion can be multiple areas. It doesn't have to be in one spot, you know. Um, I'm passionate in my new chickens. I'm passionate in
I
my
love it.
dogs. They're great. They're awesome. Um, I'm passionate that I have a nice backyard. I'm passionate that I am able to grow plants this year. Like it when you focus on, why were you so afraid that you thought you had a brown thumb? Why were you so afraid you know, uh, to hop on your bicycle and go for a long bike ride? Or why were you afraid to pick up a kettlebell? Or why were you afraid to share your light language?
Yeah, it's so funny to me. People will say, I can't go to the gym and do yoga. Um, well, yeah, nobody was great at yoga. I mean, I've been doing it for 25 years. I don't do everything perfectly. A yoga practice or any exercise practice is just beginning it. And it takes it takes repetition to get a new skill. Whether it's riding bikes, that's the first thing I bought when I retired was a bicycle and a kayak. And I everybody would laugh at me because I had a kayak on top and a bike on the back. I was nonstop riding my bike, kayaking, and my goal for many years was to paddle, paint, and play. And I really embraced things like art. I really embraced moving my body and just laying on the grass, sitting outside doing nothing, walking in a, do just I practiced the art of non-doing. But I also practice magic, and that's really focused intent and clearing. The great work is clearing your fears. It's facing them. It is not running away from fear. It is embracing it and allowing it and sitting in discomfort.
Mhm.
um, because awakening is not all great joy and
Nope,
fun, but it is rewarding.
for sure.
And resilience, the word you were talking about today was resilience. So I feel like I'm in the fire. And I wondered, I will talk, what sparked me to awaken and begin meditation was my divorce. So I was in the fire. I got a divorce. My children all moved out. I had a big house full of family and people, and I was in the stillness. And I was
Hmm.
like, what will I do with myself? I have no. So I went on a magical adventure, and I still paint and paddle and play some, but it's a lot more gentle now. I'm everything I do is more gentle,
Hmm.
and I feel like between the spiritual work I've done, clearing limiting beliefs, um, the magic work I've done, I've opened up to new opportunities. And
Hmm.
this is why we it's an alchemical process.
Absolutely.
All of the difficult things that you go through create the gold in your life. So, you work through the hard stuff and
Mhm.
you realize it really was the catalyst. So right after my divorce, I started meditating too. And now I'm able to um, meditate and sit and breathe, and my mind is clear. It's, I can see clear, much more clearly. I can feel, it, I still feel very deeply.
Mhm.
Um, but I have a love of life now. I'm not just trying to battle it. I'm not um I'm not in a frenzy running around worried about what time it is. I haven't worn a watch in 13 years. I refuse to. It's it's like that's the first thing that went. I was like, nope. Like time, I don't battle with time anymore. I focus in on the things that bring me joy with my awareness, and Sarah, you
I do.
you're a lot more playful than even when I met you.
Yeah, I'm way more playful. I definitely have shedded some layers and some masks, and some of the onion has disappeared. Um, obviously it's an ever evolving process, and you know, when you continue to avoid your fears, they just pile up and get bigger. And I've had massive life changes, as Tammy stated. I'm going through one of those right now. I'm not going to give it a name, but it's it's very important to understand that what is going on outside of you is a direct reflection of what is inside of you. So once you truly love every piece of you, everything outside of you turns into gold. Like Tammy said, the moments that were the toughest is what makes you the brightest. And just lean into that. No tough moment is undoable. It's you take one step at a time. It's not Rome wasn't built in a day, as opposed to popular belief. It was not built in a day. You need you need
Yeah.
you need those little bricks and those little pebbles to join together to make that solid foundation to move forward. So again, you know, you can't you can't expect things to change overnight, but loving yourself just 1% more every day makes a difference.
Oh, I got the message to love myself 10% more every day. And
I'm
that
I'm
was
getting
that was a great message. Like, hey, like radical self-love. Like what would that feel like? You know, what
Mhm.
would that feel like inside of me? And you know, appreciating the preciseness of exactly who you are and why you're here. This is it. This is the golden nugget. Like letting go of the idea that you need to just keep focusing on what's wrong with you instead of focusing on what's actually here in this moment. What you're here to, or I'm here to love. I'm here
Mhm.
to experience joy and beauty and bring in new codes. Where, I work with the elemental realm and the angelic realm and seeing the beauty. And really, this is an easy task. It's not a difficult one. So letting go of this is hard, this is tough, life is, we hear this our whole life. Life is hard, life is tough. You're here to feel. And
Yeah.
sometimes that is not always going to feel great. But the truth is that the joy is why we're here. And so it's a balance. It's a game.
To be honest, Tammy, would we know true joy if we didn't feel any pain? Would we know what pure joy is? Would we?
I don't think so.
So I think it's a necessary part of the whole process to feel everything completely. You know, with the dark there comes the light. You know, with pain, you can transmute that into power and purpose and make it much lighter than it was ever been. And that I think that's where when I explain to people my path and what I've gone through, they're like, "How are you still standing?" I'm like, "It's beautiful. It is stinking. Look at that allowed me to get here. Do you not see that?" And, obviously some people can't, and they're just like, "Why? What are you talking about, crazy lady?" But again, that's the perception that they don't see in themselves, and I already see that in everybody, and that's one of my gifts is I see how beautiful everyone can be. It's also not a gift because you want them to be as beautiful as you see them as they are, and as understanding that not everyone is going to walk into their pure light because as you're shining, as you're glowing, not everybody's not gonna shine as bright as Tammy here. Um, but when that happens, when you come across a bright light and you try to shove it out, no, that's not okay. Smile, laugh, have joy, enjoy it.
Yeah, your messages. So when you get up and you walk in the mornings and you talk and but what is it you always say at the end?
Remember to treat everyone with kindness, love, and respect, starting with yourself. Go out there and be that great big leader I know you are and show everybody else how it's done. I love
Yeah.
you all. That's
See?
exactly what I say. But
Yeah,
I,
I love it. I love it. You know, respecting yourself. That is resilience. Is yes, you may move through the day, each day. You can look back at moments of despair and you could label yourself as a failure, but you could also re shift your focus and your perspective on this was just a growth experience.
absolutely.
This is where I grew. So, when fear pops up, I breathe it in. Okay, I feel afraid. I feel shaky. This is something new. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not capable of being a leader,
Mm.
or, I'm not capable of this or that. Or you could say, all right, this is where I love to learn. Like my whole life, I've loved to learn new things.
Mhm.
And I'll jump in, learn something new, and then I'll get bored with it and drop it. It's like art. I mean, I painted 5 years nonstop and produced a lot of art. Now I just kind of play with it. I don't, um, I don't, I maybe I'll journal with art. Or just maybe I love the way it feels to put paint on a brush.
So
And
for me, like you're saying, your art is actual painting. My art is words. That's
uh,
why when I do those talks, like that's my art. I like to talk. I like to put words together. I like to get people to think. Like that's my thing. Like I like talking about weird stuff and stuff that I'm going through, and then if you ever notice there's just poetry sprinkled in them. It's just
yeah,
neat, and that's art. Your art, you're amazing at drawing and painting, and I'm trying. I'm definitely breaking out those colored pencils and giving it a good old try, but you know, it's I gotta practice. I gotta
Yeah,
practice to be good at painting or drawing like you are. And I practice with words. Some people
it's
aren't
great.
as
Yeah.
good
Yeah. I
with
mean, I
words.
love to communicate and talk to people, and it's wonderful to have um it's wonderful to have conversations, and it's wonderful, you know, we we briefly talked about visibility and invisibility also. Um I went You and I both saw the movie Disclosure Day, and in the movie, the girl wakes up and starts speaking light language, and it was very sudden. It came on sudden. So for me, I don't know, it started about 5 years ago, and I thought it was just for me. I was doing a lot of toning, a lot of singing, and but I just did it for myself for a long time. And then I started, sharing it with more people and doing group activations with my friends. And um but when it really came on strong, was that dragon energy. And I was like, wow, what is this? And this is weird. And, you know, the light language disclosure day kind of brought up a lot of thoughts in me. Like it kind of explains some of the unusual things that have happened to me in the last 10 years or more.
Yeah.
Like sudden moments of clarity, um, messages, go to Egypt, um, sing light language, go here, do this, call here,
Mhm.
play in Sedona, and, experience things like ETs, some things that I was very resistant to. And I like the movie, but I'll talk about visibility and invisibility. So from my perspective now, um, I have a worldview, and I feel like we're all blended beings. Where when I went to Egypt, I had the awareness that we were created. I could see on the wall of creation, and then I would walk through the museums and see these enlarged heads and giants, and walk through the temples, and I could feel it, and I resonated with a place that was very foreign to me. Why am I feeling so connected to Egypt? I could read on the walls, and I was getting messages like the entire time I was there. And so it's kind of been a gradual thing over the last, since 2008. I woke up and I had these vibrations in my body, and it was like electricity. And, so the awareness, I had no knowledge of anything galactic, um, but I was getting a message from Sirius B, and then keep getting messages about uh, there's light codes in the water coming in from Sirius, and it's like radiating out and triangulation. And there again, I've never had any um, interest in math or geometry, but now
Well,
suddenly I am.
potentially that's a past life. It's just activating within you to help with all the sacred geometry we need your help with.
Yeah.
That's one of your
So
gifts we need you for.
then I started creating things that were, yeah, that was one of the things I did when I was painting. Was I drew nonstop. uh Sacred geometry was in all my art, and then symbols would come, you know, like eyes. I would constantly doing eyes and symbols and all kinds of weird things. And I,
So,
and
so I'm on the path.
uh-huh, show that. Yeah.
So
Here's
I'm on the
one.
path. Starting with eyes.
This is one I was playing with yesterday. I was drawing,
Oh, that's beautiful.
right. I
I
was drawing a
see.
tree. Drawing a tree in a sacred geometry. It was just Metatron's cube. And anyway, so I would create this art. I was obsessed with it. I was obsessed with sacred sites. I would go to all these sacred sites and do rituals and do things. But you know, anyway, it just keeps on happening. Like go here, go there. The last place was Destin, Florida, and I'm seeing more. My third eye is opening more and more. I'm experiencing lots of things in my dreams, um, some of which I don't understand, and some of which I do. Flashes of memories of other lives. So it's really interesting what is unfolding. And I'm grateful for the expansion. I'm grateful for friends like Sarah to talk to about what's happening because this energy, we have to flow it. The earth is awakening, the sky is awakening, and we are here. We are here. And we're blended beings. We're not one thing, we're many things. We're
Mm-hmm.
many things, you know.
We're, we're like the Heinz 57s of the galaxies right here.
That's what we are. Yeah. So our DNA is expanding, and with each expansion comes new experiences
Hmm.
and and um, and deeper and we're not going anywhere. Like 4 and 5D is here. We're just expanding to see it or to
Hmm.
feel it. And we're not, we're not Earth is our playground, and our body is our sacred gift, and our
Yeah.
tones and our light language are a blessing. And I don't
I
know.
think
How
what
did you feel about the movie? I don't know if you want to add anything.
Mm, no, not really. Like the I wasn't able to see the movie yet, so I'm actually
Oh,
trying to see it this weekend. But it's
I
okay.
thought
I've
you.
heard lots. Hey, don't worry. Don't worry about spoiling anything for me. You know, it's already
Okay.
happened already all at once, so no worries.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what I really want to tie this all back together is that it's all about coherence. And you were talking about visibility, and while you were talking about visibility, you disappeared on camera for a second. I find that
I'm
to be
invisible.
interesting as well.
No,
You are
I'm
you,
transparent. I'm not invisible. I am transparent. That's the message I got is,
no,
visibility. You do what you want to do. You don't have to do anything. You
abs-
our being is what is really, uh, we're here to anchor in the new Earth grid. That's what I'm getting is, if people like us are here to anchor in where we're at. We don't have to go anywhere and do anything, but we are here. And then if we're inspired to do more or to inspire others, go ahead.
but you were talking about messages. Numbers, patterns, things, stuff like that. Do you happen to know what the area code of 808 is?
No,
Do you have any idea?
no.
It's Hawaii. I keep
Okay.
seeing that on tons of license plates. So, maybe I'll get the message, maybe I won't.
I know, right? Perhaps you need to go there. And yeah, and there's a lot of codes. The entire planet is sacred, and there's sacred sites everywhere. Because I'm in
Mm,
Georgia,
yep.
and you're in where
In
you're at.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
And there are so many. Like I live right by the river. You just chill, hang out. Like, so I wanted to bring this up earlier, but yesterday while I was going out to lunch, I had lunch with myself. And I sat at the community path, and I just wanted to have a nice, relaxing time, just have some lunch. And I guess the geese decided that they needed to come hang out with me for lunch. So I had some friendly, like a whole gaggle of geese, hang out with me for lunch yesterday, and I find that to be very funny. And geese are a very spiritual symbol. And for that many of them to hang out with me yesterday, for us to have this conversation, it's all about finding the balance in every day and seeing the beauty in those little moments, because that's abundance right there. That's beauty. Like I can't express my joy or gratefulness for being part of this amazing experience, being a friend of Tammy, being here with all of you, because, you know, it's about balance and we can do it.
Well, that is a really nice way to end this. I love you, Sarah. Thank you for joining me this morning, for singing and just being you. So,
I love you too. Thank you, Tammy, for having me. It was an amazing experience. I appreciate you.
bye bye.
Bye.